Hi, my name is Steve with iFLOW. Welcome to our video series. In this segment we're going to introduce iFLOW to you. So iFLOW, we're looking at smarter airflow, smarter water flow, and we're trying to create a revolution in comfort by significantly raising the performance bar for HVAC solutions in North America, both on the new construction and on the renovation side. And you may say, a revolution? Really? But yes, really. This was a study released by Emerson recently that said 76% of consumers aren't comfortable in their own homes, a place where they spend 69% of their time. Some of the issues, hot and cold. So 61% responded that their home has some rooms that are hot and some rooms that are cold. 48% said they adjust their thermostat daily. 38% admit to having family disagreements about comfortable temperature. And then 18% said their family battles are comfort versus concerns over energy costs. So those are issues every day that we see and that contractors face in the field. Stratification. This is an issue that I'm sure many of you see. You have single zone homes for the most part with the thermostat on the main floor, which may be comfortable, but then the hot air pools in the upper floor. So in the summer your top floor can be very, very warm, when your main floor may be at temperature, and then your basement will be very, very cold. Again, this is 2019. We can do better. Why do we continue to have these same HVAC issues? Customers just want solutions. They want lower energy bills, they want better comfort throughout the home, and they want reliability. So we're going to get rid of these issues, we're going to get rid of these stratification issues, and that's what iFLOW does. So let's take a look at how. So as a company, what we'd like to do is solve the HVAC industry challenges by delivering comfort, efficiency, and value. So by combining our team's collective engineering, hydronic, and HVAC experiences, we've been able to create solutions for many of these most pressing challenges. So at iFLOW we manufacture air handlers that represent a technology disruption in that for the first time in the HVAC industry, our combination systems have been tested and have been shown to perform better than even the best furnaces in North America. So the advantages for the homeowners: performance is smarter, quieter, more comfortable, and much more efficient. For contractors, our installations are quicker, easier, and simpler. For builders and architects, the mechanic rooms are smaller and tighter, with solutions that work and bring value. So the iFLOW isn't just an air handler, it's really the brains and heartbeat of your home comfort system. So let's look at some of the components that make up the air handler. There are four main components. First and foremost, the hydronic coil. Our coil delivers exceptional efficiency in the high 90s range, and we pair that with our control strategy for delta T maximization across the coil and modulation to give you maximum efficiency. To get that full modulation, we've paired the coil with a variable speed ECM that offers constant CFM capability. We pair that with proprietary software and hardware. So the software and hardware that we do is all done in-house. So we design the board, the architecture, the hardware, all comes from iFLOW, done in-house. And then also our software that drives the board, but also software that drives our smartphone app is all done in-house. We have a Wi-Fi app and smartphone application, both in iPhone and Android versions, and basically they offer many of the smartphone functions that you would get with a smart thermostat, but you can get them on your smartphone. So let's break each of those down a little further. So I mentioned we get exceptional efficiency off our coil. Basically we have a a unique and proprietary water flow pattern. So that design is unique in the industry, unique to iFLOW, all designed in-house in Toronto. We have a high density fin spacing, and that combined with special materials coating allows us to have been able to deliver premium efficiency. When we tested to the CSA P9 standard, which is an efficiency standard that is designed to measure the efficiency of combination systems. So when we combine the iFLOW air handler with a tankless water heater or a heat pump water heater or a boiler, for example, this is the test that we would use to rate those solutions. So luckily, when we combined with the Navien NP condensing tankless series, we scored a TPF of 0.98 or 98%. And when we tested with the Rinnai Sensei RU series, we scored a rating of 94. With 98 is the highest performance rating of any manufacturer in North America, and we have 4 of the 6 top ratings in the CSA testing. With the Rinnai, we are also the highest scoring air handler when tested with Rinnai, again, of any manufacturer in North America. We've also recently been the subject of a couple of reports that have tested our units as they compare to a 95% AFUE 2-stage furnace, and in those cases we have performed even better than those furnaces and up to 15% better. And the reason is, in most of the furnaces have a limit to the minimum modulation, so the minimum speed they can go, if you will, and we're able, depending on what appliance we pair with to do the heating, we can actually run at much lower inputs and providing less cycling, more comfort, and more steady temperatures, so better efficiencies. Our strategy is for delta T maximization with modulation. So we're trying to maximize the temperature differential. So a delta T is the change in temperature from the inlet to the outlet. So we look at the temperature coming into the unit, the temperature going out of the unit. The further we can spread that means the more heat is going into the air, and likely the more efficient the performance of the heat source will be. So we have 1 outdoor sensor and we have 5 indoor feedback sensors that all feed back to the controller, and then the controller auto adjusts the CFM rate and the pump speed to achieve this delta T maximization or efficiency maximization. With the modulation, because we can modulate down to any speed, if you will, this minimizes cycling. So if we need 35,000 BTUs, we can run at 35,000 BTUs. We don't need to run at 60,000 and go on and off and on and off. We can run at 35,000 BTUs or 30,000 BTUs or 42,000 BTUs, whatever the case may be. So that makes for longer run times at lower inputs, so we're not over delivering. Delivering only the heat and cool that's needed, so for quieter operation, because we can modulate down, instead of running at a CFM required for 60,000 BTUs, we can run at a CFM equivalent to the BTUs required. If that's 35,000 BTUs, then we can run at that CFM level. So running at lower BTUs for quieter operation, for ultra steady temperatures, and that's maximum comfort. When we're not cycling off and on and we're just running continuously at the BTUs required in the space, it's excellent comfort. To make that happen, we're using a variable speed ECM blower with constant CFM capability. So we're using a 1/2 horsepower Gentech Eon variable speed ECM blower motor. For those who are familiar with the Gentech, and if you have any of the Gentech diagnostic tools, they will work on this blower as well without problem. And then we modulate that. Our controller modulates the fan from 0 to 100% in 1% increments. So I can give you 5%, I can give you 40%, I can give you 80% or 100%, whatever the controller deems it needs based on the inputs, as I mentioned, the inputs that we get from all of the sensors. We then tell the blower to come on at whatever the demanded flow rate is, and we deliver that precisely. The constant CFM basically looks at the at maintaining the CFM regardless of the external static pressure. So as the pressure in the ducting system increases, so for example over time perhaps your filter gets more clogged, that's going to act as more of a restriction against the air moving through it. In that case, the motor will automatically increase the blower, the power to the motor to overcome the increased pressure to maintain the CFM. So even with a static pressure of up to 1.5 inch water column, we can still maintain the CFMs we need to deliver all of the heating and cooling. Our hardware, this is a picture of our hardware here. This is our 4-zone controller. So we have unparalleled intelligence as the unit can auto-adapt to maximize the efficiency and maximize the comfort. There are 100 fully programmable parameters that you can choose from to really fine-tune your system if you would like, or you can use the auto defaults, and for each of those 100 parameters there is an auto default, so you can easily set up if you wish to if you don't wish to use any of the parameters. So they're there if you need them, if you want them, or you can use the auto default just as easily. Get full diagnostics feedback either on the 22 segment LED or on your smartphone app, again as we have that capability. Again, we include a 22 segment LED light, so it's got many of the error codes, many of the diagnostics will come up on the display itself. We've got integrated zone control, so with our 2, 3 or 4 zone system, you do not need any additional controllers, you don't need any other manufacturer's products to make this work. We have 4 zone damper connections, and then we have our 4 zone thermostats here on the side, so everything connects to the board, and then we control the distribution through the home as the thermostats need. So all of this again is done in-house at iFLOW. And the last component is our Wi-Fi. Again, it's 2019. Everybody has a smartphone. We want to make it as easy to control your HVAC system as possible. So we have come up with Wi-Fi. So all of our W units, our D units, and our Q units. So all of our zoning units and then our Wi-Fi units are all Wi-Fi enabled. And when you have the Wi-Fi, then you just download the app to your iPhone or to your Android phone. And you get full smart thermostat functionality through your smartphone. The app is free and gives you all of the diagnostics on your phone. Offers complete control and remote, so you can set up, adjust, monitor, and get any error codes, any alerts to your phone or to an email. That's all from your iPhone. You can get the weather. Will automatically geolocate if you want and pull in the weather so that the unit knows what the outdoor temperature is doing as well. So very sophisticated, very but easy to use. So really there's no need to buy an expensive smart thermostat when we can provide many of those functions using the app itself. So I mentioned zoning. So again, we have that precision zoning built into our hardware, the capability. We can do a single zone, of course, if you only have a single zone, without problem. With a single zone, you get the full modulation, you get the delta T maximization, you have a lot of the a lot of the functions. You can get the Wi-Fi capability as well with our single zone system, or you can go into a 2, 3, or 4 zone system. In a retrofit situation, we can easily accommodate that. If the trunk line, let's say, goes left and right, we can put a damper on each side. So in a home that may not have had zoning previously, we can go in and retrofit zoning in to deliver more comfort. We can go with 2, 3, or 4 supply lines out and with a common return, or we can go with 3, 4 supply lines out and then 3 or 4 return lines back. So then we can pinpoint and deliver supply and return to each zone. That would be the ultimate in comfort, ultimate in design. So that would be for mostly new construction. Redoing that in an existing home might be a little bit difficult, but in a renovation situation, again, we can still put the zone dampers into your existing system in many instances and use the common return and give you at least the supply control for the system. So with that, we can solve many of the stratification issues with zoning. We can solve the remote room issue, where the room over the garage, for example, is notoriously hard to control. It'll be hot in the summer, it'll be cold in the winter. We can deal with that. We can set that as one zone. It has its independent thermostat and deliver all the heating and cooling that room needs to make it comfortable and usable. The last thing you want is to buy a house for, these days, depending on the city, you could be spending, $600,000, $800,000, $1 million for your home. The last thing you want is to have any part of that home, any square footage in that home, not be usable. So what we want to do is provide solutions for our customers. All of the thermostats and the dampers will wire directly to our control board, as I showed you a little bit earlier. So there are no other components required. All of our units work with three wire dampers. So we have dampers that go with our product. We have a 6, 7, and 8 inch round, and then we have an 8 by 8, 8 by 16, 8 by 20 square and rectangular. Dampers that they can come with our system. If you're using off the other manufacturer's dampers, then any 3-wire damper will work with our system. In terms of that zone control, we'll be able to deliver that same modulation that we have on the whole house side, that 0 to 100% in 1% increments. We can now apply that to each of the zones as well. So we can divvy up the zones as best in your house, and then say if one zone needs 35%, we can deliver 35%. If another zone needs 50%, we can deliver 50%. So we can tailor each zone with that same modulation capability. In terms of installation, we give you lots of flexibility. You can bring the return duct on the left side, the right side, or even on the bottom. So 3 ways to bring the return duct. We can install this unit upflow, downflow. We can go horizontally above, horizontally below, or we can even hang it from the rafters. So if you have ceiling trusses or joists, then we can actually strap the unit, because it only weighs 63 pounds, from 63 to 93 depending on the unit. But we can strap it from the ceiling to open up floor space, so if you're in a tight mechanical room. So lots of flexibility that way. In terms of the space it takes up, our smallest unit can fit into a 3x3 closet without problem at all. This is to scale. This is 8.3 square feet, so less than a 3x3 closet. And we have our 14-inch unit. We have a tankless water heater in the front. We have the return ducting, the filter rack, and the transition, all done to scale. No clearance to combustibles around the product. And no access panels required. It's actually fully, it can go fully into that closet without problem. Our largest unit can go into a 4x3 or a 6x2. So a 12 square foot footprint is what we would need for our largest unit. So from less than 9 to 12 square feet is the closet space that our units can fit in. and allows you lots of different flexibility with the mechanic room configuration. We can go tankless in front of the unit, tankless on the side wall hung, tankless air handler, ducting all side by side. So lots of flexibility there for your mechanical designers and your architects. And then finally, we can work with any heat source. We can work with tankless water heaters, whether that's Navien, whether it's Rinnai, whether it's A.O. Smith, Takagi, Noritz, Vesta. We can work with any of them. On the boiler side, we can work with any of the wall-hung boilers. Actually, we can work with any boiler, wall-hung or not wall-hung. We can work with the combi boilers. We can work with tank-type water heaters. We could easily pair with an electric water heater that has an energy factor of 0.96 or 0.997, great efficiency with the water heater and into the unit. Increasing that from there, we can work with a heat pump water heater that has a COP of 4, for example, and get some great performance out of the heat pump water heater. And then even if the heat pump is not keeping up, let's say in the middle of winter, if we're in a colder area, it'll default to its electric backup. Even then we'll have decent efficiency, just like the electric water heater. So we can work with electric heat pump water heaters, or we can even work with heat pumps, where the heat pumps will provide the air conditioning in the summer, and they'll provide the heating in the winter with the reversing valve. So we can work with heat pumps as well. So regardless of the heat source, we can work with any of those manufacturers. So different from a furnace, where the furnace manufacturers are doing all three functions. They're doing the conversion of the heat, they're doing the transfer, and they're doing the distribution. When we separate those functions out, we can easily work with any of these manufacturers to deliver custom solutions to be able to solve those HVAC problems we discussed earlier. Just to give you a look at some of the installations and how they may look. Here's our iFLOW unit on the right, where we're bringing our return duct into the side, air conditioning coil on top, and then distributing out into the home. In this case, our heat is being supplied by this boiler, this wall-hung boiler. In this application, we have another wall-hung boiler on the side, and we have the iFLOW. It's feeding in, and this is a zone system. You see the zone damper here, and there's another zone damper over here. So you have some zone damper. So this is a zone system. Here's another zone system. This one is actually in a closet. You can see the closet frame right there, and this is a 4-zone system. You see 1, 2 zone dampers, and these are 2 of our round zone dampers, and then we have 2 in the back as well. So this is doing your heating and your air conditioning and your zoning all in one small little closet. This final application that we've got here is another wall-hung boiler feeding over into our air handler and zoning as well. So why use a boiler? Well, for example, let's say we see this is zoned. Let's say our heat loss in this new home is 30,000 BTUs. And let's just assume we have 3 zones. So here's 1 zone, there's 2 zones, let's assume there's another zone. So we have 3 zones, 30,000 BTUs divided into 3 zones, and let's say they're equal zones. So each zone requires 10,000 BTUs. Well, if my minimum input on my furnace or on my tankless water heater, for example, is above that 10,000 BTUs, then it's going to be cycling a little bit. We'll look at cycling in a few in some other videos. But if we can match that 10,000, if we can match the BTU load in the home to the appliance, then it's a perfect pairing. So we want to make sure we have the maximum heat load met, but then the minimum heat load. And when we're zoning, those minimum heat loads are going to be divided into 3 depending on 3 or 4 depending on the number of zones. So in this case, for example, if that was a 60,000 BTU boiler and it had a 10-to-1 turn down ratio, it could modulate down to 6,000 BTUs. So if my heat loss was, my minimum heat loss on one zone was 10,000 BTUs, this unit could easily provide, because its minimum is 6,000, it could easily ramp up to the 10,000 deliver all of the heating we need without cycling, with great efficiency, that's a great solution. So in summary, if you need to remember 4 unique proprietary and industry-leading features. Number 1, iFLOW has an ultra-efficient heat exchanger. So again, our proprietary water pathway design combined with the high-density fin spacing and the special materials coating gives us premium efficiency. In most of the testing we've done, we're at 95% and higher with the various heat sources that we tested with. We have full modulation of our blower and pump modulation to achieve maximum efficiency. So again, we can modulate that blower from 0 to 100% in 1% increments, and that's great comfort. On the pump modulation side, we can't go right to 0. We go from about 35% up to 100% on those PSC motors. We have zone control. So again, we can do single zone, but we can also do 2, 3, or 4 zone control. All of that is built in. What that means is we can deliver the heating and cooling where you need it in the house, when you need it, and in the amounts you need it. So we have the modulation and the distribution control to be able to pinpoint and deliver comfort wherever you need it. And that's an awesome comfort solution. And then lastly, we have the Wi-Fi with the smartphone app to give you excellent control and the ability to monitor your system and adjust your system from wherever you may be. So again, the hydronic coil, the full modulation, the zoning, and the Wi-Fi. So those are the four unique attributes that iFLOW offers the industry to help solve the HVAC challenges that we see every day. And we believe we can solve them. So as I said at the beginning, a revolution in comfort, and really that's what we want to do. We want to offer the industry solutions to these problems. There are solutions. We can do it for reasonable cost, with great efficiency, with great performance. There's no reason to have uncomfortable rooms and uncomfortable homes in 2019. So thank you for your time. We appreciate you spending some time with us to learn about the iFLOW. If you have any questions, please reach us at iflowhvac.com, or please feel free to email me at steve.bagshaw@iflowhvac.com, or reach me on my cell or toll free. Either way, we would love to hear from you and appreciate your feedback. So again, thank you for spending some time with us, and we'll see you at the next video. Thank you.